Good afternoon. Welcome to today's webinar event. My name is Joshua. I'm going to be your presenter today. Our topic for today is mid-year W-2 checkups for Church Windows Payroll. So we're basically we recommend doing this. We've been doing this a long time, folks. So trying to anticipate and foresee potential problems or problems that are on your W-2s are a lot easier here to deal with in, say, July, August, September than they might be in December, say, January. I mean, they can be dealt with at any time. It's just that trying to be able to get a hold of them and fixing them now is oftentimes going to be less stressful and easier if you can figure those out now rather than later. So we're in 22, and so what folks are unaware of a lot of times is you can go in and look right now at the W-2s for 2022. To look at those, the form year won't be right. They're going to be the 21 forms, but you can essentially look at what's going to appear on the W-2s right now. So we're going to go into reports. Let's go back in again. Reports, tax reports, W-2 forms. It's going to list all of your employees that have pay in 22. And then we're going to click next, and we're just going to look at the file copy. So we simply choose next, and here are our W-2s for 2022. The form, like I say, only says 2021. The 2022 forms don't even exist yet, okay? They'll be included in a Church Windows payroll update between now and the start of the new year that includes the New Year's form. But we're unaware of anything that's really drastically going to change in it at this point. And so, but you can just basically look at the forms and see what they're showing and displaying for your employees now. So right here, and what we're talking about here is, don't worry about the year. You're not printing these forms to either distribute to your employees or to send into the government. Again, a payroll update will be released at the start of the year that will install the 2022 W-2 forms that you will then distribute to your employees or file with the government, okay? So just disregard the year. You're really just here to look at the actual forms themselves and what is printing on it, okay? And notably, what we're really here to look at are things like wages and taxes, okay? Deductions, allowances, making sure that everything is reporting and showing up where it should be, okay? You know, so here we've got, say, Larry Higgins, our senior minister, his reported taxable compensation, how much federal income tax he's having withheld. You know, is his housing allowance reporting with the correct amount as it should? You know, pension deductions. If we scroll down now to a layperson, say, you know, and what we can say with complete certainty here for Larry is he's a minister because we see nothing reporting in boxes 3 through 8 or 7 for anything for Social Security, wages, held amounts, Medicare amounts, or Social Security. Okay, so when a person is marked as a minister, nothing reports in these boxes, okay? When we're looking at a layperson, there are. We notice here now that Jimmy is a layperson and he does have Social Security, wages, and amounts withheld, okay? So again, folks, you just want to kind of come in here and look and see if an employee's W-2 is reporting correctly. If you've got a pastor and you say, oh, well, I know the pastor has a housing allowance, but is it reporting in box 14 correctly? If the answer is no, then we've got to go in and make a change to the setup of that allowance. Okay? So these are the things that you're wanting to look at now. Okay? Church Windows doesn't know whether the setup is correct. You need to look at that and to see if it is. Okay? So if you've got questions about an employee's setup, you can also run some other reports in Payroll that may offer some assistance with that. So right here, if we go to something like reports, we can go to pay period earnings report. I can leave it for all of my staff And let's say maybe we want to run it for the entire year. So here we're going to go, all right, 1/1 through 12/31 of 22, go to next. Here we've got our taxable earnings report. So that would be the earnings as they're going to appear on our tax forms and W-2s. Probably pay type earnings isn't too helpful. So we'll just do taxable earnings and go to next. So right here, we clearly see that we've got all of our, so let me kind of enlarge this here. Maybe make this window a little bit bigger. So right here, got our units, earnings, allowances, and then our wages. So we clearly see here under Larry, he's our senior pastor. He does not have anything showing up for Medicare, Social Security wages, but he definitely does for federal. And then we've got Steve, our other associate pastor, where he too also has no Social Security and Medicare wages, but does federal, state, or local. So again, just another way of looking at the earnings for any employee or all employees. Okay, so we see here earnings without allowances, basically regular gross earnings. That could be regular overtime, additional vacation, or sick time. Allowances would be, of course, money that's paid to an employee above their regular base pay. Okay. So again, one report that might also prove helpful to determine the correct totals that are reporting for your employees. And if we click finish through that, another report, again run by individual, that shows a little more detail, a lot more detail, honestly, is the reports and history report. This one called Federal Taxable Earnings, Withholdings, and Net Pay Detail. We're going to leave it as all employees. It's going to run it for the whole year automatically. And if I choose individual history report and I click next, it now brings up each employee on a separate page. But it does show each paycheck separately. Okay? So per our taxable earnings report, we see that federal taxable compensation for, say, Larry, is reporting the same $11,929.30 for his regular pay. Okay, his earnings without allowances of the $13,150, because he has a non-taxable deduction of $12,220, reducing his taxable compensation down to the just under $12,000. It does show virtually everything that's been set up as part of an employee's file setup. Then if I click the down arrow here, it goes to my next employee. And again, the information as it prints on my W-2s is verified on this report or my taxable earnings detail report. Okay, so these reports will help with regards to determining if something is set up or not set up properly. So bottom line is, if we determine that something's wrong, something may need to change. You might need to go into data setup into, say, your deductions file or allowances file and change the taxable status of a deduction or an allowance. Okay? Those can be changed mid-year. We want to make sure that they're being set up from any point going forward. Now, that still doesn't mean that something might not need to be fixed for the past, but we can also do that as well. But if we go into, say, data setup and allowances file, we go, oh, well, our housing allowance wasn't checked to show separately in box 14 on the W-2. You can check that right now and choose the box number in July, and that will put that amount into the box. Okay. Taxable status down here in the bottom left under include in W-2 wages is a little bit of a different animal. That will not retroactively render amounts paid to somebody as either taxable or withhold taxes. It only helps us from today moving forward. Okay. But they can always be changed, so it's helping from today moving forward. So get those corrections made in the setup of things like deductions or allowances as soon as possible so the problem doesn't perpetuate, okay, doesn't continue. Doesn't mean that we still won't have to go back and fix something else that's been wrong in the past. But that's where, when we go back to our main home screen, you go to payroll and calculate adjustment. The calculate adjustment problem is in our payroll software for the purpose of fixing problems, and that's what that's there for. Okay, so if wages aren't reporting correctly, you can use the calculate adjustment feature to fix wage problems and things like that, earnings problems. What we don't want to do is we don't want to use it to say that we've withheld something from somebody's from somebody for taxes that we didn't actually deduct or withhold. So typically we probably wouldn't do too much using the adjustment to change things like federal income tax withheld or Social Security monies that are withheld. There would be different problems. So what I like to basically sort of get to when we're kind of getting to the conclusion of the event here is look at these. If you think you have a problem and you're unsure what to do about it, pick up the phone and call us. Okay, call me, because like you, it's easier for me to help you fix the problem now rather than in December or January. Okay, I can help you faster and quicker. Okay, any of my technicians can. It may not be me, it may be somebody else, but it's better to fix the problem now in summer of 2022 rather than trying to fix it when we're behind the 8 ball trying to get our tax documents and filings ready for the 2022 end of year. Okay. Again, setup of these things can be changed at any time so they're correct going forward, and we can fix problems in the past as well. Okay. Without changing amounts that have been paid, we can have recommendations for ways of being able to fix things moving forward. Okay. Even if that means changing, tax documents to 941s, or, amendments can be filed to things like that. But start looking and anticipating problems for things like that now. Okay. One of the last things I wanted to show as part of this is when we go to our website, and I'm going to bring over a web page here, and we're going to go to our website. If you're unsure about a setup, right here under our Resource Center, if I go down here and let the page load, I'll have a search box here momentarily right here. And if I type in FAQs, we notice right here, payroll setup FAQs, or frequently asked questions. This is a document that details how and many things should be set up in Church Windows Payroll for either ministers or for lay staff. It looks like it's about a 5-page document that details, with detailed explanations of things like allowances, deductions, here with even breakdown of deductions and allowance setups in terms of their taxable setup and their report setup. So this document right here will offer an awful lot of insight as to whether something's been set up correctly for your employees, and notably your ministers, where things like deductions and allowances are commonly in play, or not. Okay. So if you come in here and print this and you go into your deductions or allowances and you go, oh, my pension deduction wasn't set up to show with box 12E, that can be changed. Okay. Or it was not set up with the incorrect taxable or include in W-2 wage status. Again, that's going to help determine that. Okay. So again, back at our website under the Resource Center and typing in the key phrase FAQs and printing this payroll setup FAQs document. Okay. It says in this document, find standard setups in situations for pastors and pastoral and lay staff. It's helpful. Use it. It's what it's out here for. Okay. So start looking at your W-2s now. Please reach out to us if you have any questions. If you're unsure about something, myself, my other payroll technicians will be happy to discuss things with you and help try to get those fixed now and get them set up for payrolls moving forward. Okay. So we're going to leave our topic today there.